They say sleep is peace, that when the world becomes too loud, we close our eyes and drift. But they forget, before peace comes surrender, and surrender belongs to Him. This is God and demon, where even sleep has a voice. Hypnos never shouts, he never demands, he only reaches out, gently, and with one touch, the world dims. He does not steal your breath, he waits for you to offer it. He doesn't chain your thoughts, he opens the door and watches you walk through. You do it willingly, because sleep feels like freedom, but freedom is not his gift. What he gives is silence, and silence can echo. You think he is mercy, that he's the lull between storms, the quiet after grief, but mercy is something you beg for, and no one begs before they sleep, not until they dream, because that's where he lives, not in your body, but in your mind, not in the moment you fall asleep, but in the second before you wake, when the fear is still inside you, when you remember, but wish you didn't. Hypnos doesn't speak in words, he speaks in visions, and visions do not lie. He is not here to comfort, he is here to reveal, to unwrap the things you buried, the faces you forgot, the truths you denied. He does not show you monsters, he shows you yourself, the version you locked away, the memory you rewrote. He does not strike, he reflects. He lets you see the moment you flinched, the choice you never made, the hand you didn't take. He does not haunt you. You do that on your own. He only gives you the silence to listen, the darkness to see, the stillness to feel it again. And when you do, when your chest tightens, when your skin grows cold, that's not him punishing you. That's you, touching the part of your soul that never healed. He doesn't guide you through dreams. He opens the door and leaves it ajar. And what steps through is what you've always known was waiting. Not death, not terror, just recognition of the thing you feared most, not because it could hurt you, but because it already did. He is gentle, because terror delivered gently lingers longer. No chains, no commands, just a quiet descent into the place where your voice doesn't follow, into the moments your waking self refuses to claim. He gives you sleep, but sleep is only the hallway, and the doors on either side are yours. He only walks beside you long enough to vanish, and when he does, you're left alone, alone with your past, your failures, your wants. He shows you the face of someone you loved. Then he shows you how they looked when you walked away. He shows you the cliff, not to push you, but to let you remember why you stepped back, or why you didn't. He has no wrath. He has no flame. He is not like Ares. He doesn't tear the world open. He makes it still, so still, that you begin to hear what your soul has been screaming for years. He is not cruel. He is exact. He gives you just enough truth, wrapped in warmth, laced in shadows, so you'll never know if it was real, or just your guilt finally speaking. Even gods fall under his touch. Even Zeus closed his eyes once and saw the child he once was, crying in fear of his own father, and Hypnos said nothing. He only placed a hand on his brow, and the storm disappeared, not because it was gone, but because for the first time, someone dared to rest inside it. He gave Hera dreams, where the silence was kinder than Olympus. He gave Hades visions, of fields where the dead remembered love. He gave Athena nothing, because even in sleep, her mind refused to rest. She feared what she might find. He does not chase, he waits, because all things, even gods, must sleep. And when they do, he is there, not to comfort, but to hold up a mirror, to remind them that sleep is not escape, it is reckoning. And in that reckoning, he smiles. He does not trap you. You walked willingly into his hands, because sleep is the only place left where the masks fall, where your name no longer matters, where the truth speaks without language. And he is always listening, not with ears, but with patience. He listens to the parts of you that never made it to daylight, the hopes you buried, the rage you swallowed, the grief you disguised as strength. He cradles them, not to heal, but to hold, because some wounds do not want to close. Some dreams do not want to be chased. They only want to be remembered. And he remembers. He remembers everyone who ever closed their eyes in fear, everyone who ever begged for one more moment, or one less. He collects them, not as trophies, but as stories. And in his realm, there is no end, only repetition, only return, because no matter how far you run, eventually, you sleep. And when you do, he is there, waiting, not as God, not as demon, but as mirror. And in that reflection, you finally see that sleep is not escape, it is truth, laid bare, with no fire, no storm, no mercy, only you and the shadow that never left. They say dreams are harmless, that nothing inside them can touch you. But that's not true, because Hypnos does not give you dreams. He gives you yourself, stripped of the story you tell others, stripped of the story you tell yourself. He does not fabricate, he remembers. He gathers the things you tried to forget, the promises you broke, the faces you blurred, the truths you turned into metaphors, and he shows them to you, not with cruelty, but with clarity, because he does not want your pain. He wants your honesty, and honesty is the most terrifying thing in the dark. He does not lead you into nightmares. He lets you guide yourself, because no one knows your fear like you do. No one knows where it hides, what it sounds like, what it smells like when it leans in close. He simply gives it form, a flicker behind a door, a voice calling your name from the bottom of the ocean, the weight in your chest that grows heavier the deeper you go. And in that dream, you run, but not from him, from you, from the part you thought was buried in childhood, in guilt, in silence. He doesn't make you dream of monsters. He lets you become them, not to frighten you, but to show you that everything you fled, you also created, that what chased you once wore your face. He watches, but he does not follow, because he's not interested in what you fear. He's interested in why the memory of her still burns, why the sound of that door still freezes your spine, why that name still echoes, even though you swore you forgot. He does not measure your fear in screams. He measures it in silence, in the second after you wake, when the room is still dark, and your heartbeat is the only thing you trust. That's his temple, not marble, not gold, but the moment when the dream ends, and you realize it never really left. It lives with you, walks with you, sits beside you when you eat, waits at the edge of every moment, and you call it something else, anxiety, shadow, sadness, but he knows what it is. He named it and gave it to you, wrapped in the illusion of peace, because peace isn't real. It's a pause between what you remember and what you try to forget. And Hypnos, he does not live in peace. He lives in pause. He is the breath before the scream, the blink before the tears, the silence before the question. Why do I feel like this? He does not answer. He never does. He only touches your eyes and waits for what you'll see next. They say gods live in the sky, that they dwell above pain. But Hypnos is not a sky god. He does not rain from clouds. He waits in rooms with no doors, in hallways that never end, in the space between blink and breath, because he knows. You don't look up when you're afraid. You look inward, and that's where he is. Not on a throne, but in your reflection, when it flickers, when it fails, when you wonder who's really staring back. He lives in your voice, the part that cracks when no one listens, the part that stays quiet because it already knows how the world responds. He knows the moments you break, not loudly, but slowly. When you cancel the call, when you laugh too quickly, when you smile so others don't ask. And he collects those moments, not to use against you, but to show you, to remind you that the breaks were always there. You just stopped looking. He is not here to save. He is not here to destroy. He is here to reveal the difference between what you pretend to be and what you truly are when no one's watching. He walks among the sleepers, not to bless them, but to weigh them, to see which ones are still pretending and which ones are ready to see, truly see, not the world, but the truth beneath it, the truth that your fears are not weaknesses, they are mirrors, and every mirror eventually cracks. He gave Narcissus a dream, not of beauty, but of time passing, while he stared, while he waited, while nothing changed. And when Narcissus woke, he didn't speak, because some truths are louder than words. He gave Achilles a dream of a world where he never fought, where he never proved anything, and he asked him, "Would you still be a hero if no one ever saw you bleed?" Achilles didn't answer, because answers aren't what Hypnos wants. He wants the pause, the breath you hold, the question you don't finish, because in that unfinished space, you feel it, not pain, not rage, but weight, the weight of everything you never faced, and that is where he waits. They say he's harmless, that sleep cannot wound, that dreams are just stories, but they forget. A story can change you, a dream can end you, and Hypnos, he is both. He is not a god of endings. He is the one who shows you where it all began, not in the moment of impact, but in the silence before it. He shows you the first time you lied to protect someone, the first time you stayed quiet to be loved, the first time you broke something beautiful and blamed yourself. He does not offer closure, he offers return. And in that return, you realize nothing was ever gone, just buried. And the deeper you buried it, the stronger it waited. He walks among the minds of gods, among the ruins of those who forgot who they were. Because he does not need temples. He builds his shrines in memory, in regret, in the lullabies you can't hear without crying. And still, he is gentle. He does not scream. He does not punish. He places his hand on your brow and lets you see the one thing you've always run from, yourself. Not the self you created, the self you abandoned, the child who waited for someone to understand, and no one came, so you grew thorns, you built fire, you wore thunder. But he remembers, and he brings that child back, not to harm you, but to ask, "Are you ready to stop running?" And when you answer, it's not with words, it's with the breath you finally take, the breath you've held for years. This is God and demon, where dreams are not escape, they are confrontation, and even the kindest gods carry the sharpest mirrors. If this story touched a place you haven't visited in a long time, like, share, and subscribe, because the gods still watch. But some wait inside you. Based on Greek mythology, some events have been reimagined for emotional and cinematic storytelling purposes.